Pregnancy Sickness Support will be turning 20 in November 22. We are the UK's only charity helping people affected by nausea and sickness in pregnancy, known as MVP, and the extreme form of the condition called hyperemesis gravidarum, or HG. At PSS, we provide a helpline offering information on MVP and HG, which can be reached via 024 7638 2020. We also offer a web chat service, which is available at www.pregnancysicknesssupport.org.uk. To ensure no HG sufferer has to feel alone, we also offer a peer support service, which is delivered by our incredible network of volunteers. These volunteers have experienced the condition themselves and understand just how debilitating, not to mention lonely and isolating, HG can be. We often hear stories from sufferers that their medical support was inadequate due to lack of understanding of pregnancy sickness and HG. Pregnancy Sickness Support is committed to providing training for healthcare professionals to ensure no sufferer has to battle to be understood or to get the medical treatment that they so desperately need. We also participate in new research on pregnancy sickness in the hope that one day there will be a cure for hyperemesis gravidarum. Today, I'm talking to HG sufferer Jessica Rout. Thank you for joining me, Jessica, especially as I know that you are suffering at the moment. Can you tell me a little bit about your HG so far?
Yeah, of course. So I was diagnosed with HG quite early on in my pregnancy. It was about 5 weeks in. So pretty much every single day since finding out, I have struggled pretty much daily with the sickness. I'm now currently 27 weeks this week. My HG, to be honest, it's been such a challenge to the point where I think mentally and physically I've struggled massively. It started off with, I just thought it was morning sickness, I suppose, as you would. And then I think it didn't take long for me to then realise, actually, this is a lot more than just morning sickness as such. To the point where I was, you know, in the toilet pretty much 20 times a day, if not more. So yeah, so I, like I say, found out quite early on. Was diagnosed by my GP with HG, and I think it wasn't until, I would probably say, this past month, to the point where I didn't really feel like I was being heard and things like that. So it's been quite an isolating process, if I'm honest, from finding out at, like I say, very early on in my pregnancy to now. It's still very much ongoing. I've tried lots of different medications and different, you know, things what people have suggested. You know, people say ginger biscuits, pressure point bands, things like that. And I think as much as you want to try and help yourself before even touching medication in pregnancy, I guess, there's only so much that you can do. And I think I definitely learned that the hard way, in a sense. I wish I'd have known a little bit sooner. But yeah, that's me so far. Like I say, I'm still very quite poorly with it. It's still something I am suffering with, but I am learning now to manage a lot more, and it is becoming slightly easier. But the past, you know, say 20 weeks has been a bit of a journey so far. I've been off work with my sickness, because it has been to the point where most days I am bedbound, and it is, you know, it's literally getting up in the morning, the routine of my sickness, which you do kind of get into a routine of, bizarrely, but it just becomes part of your day, sadly, but that's what happens. You know, I'll get up, have a bath, and then I'm back in bed pretty much, and they're like my bad days. And then my better days, you know, they do consist of now finally managing to leave the house a little bit. I did try all of the techniques what other people suggested, like eating smaller portions, your ginger biscuits, your pressure point bands, everything that I could possibly find that I thought might have helped me. I tried my hardest with. But I think you soon become to know that you need that professional input as soon as you can, really. Like I say, I've tried lots of different medications, oral medications and injections as well. But the thing that I've found has helped me the most is what I'm currently taking, and it's only been these past probably 2 weeks that I've actually found that this medication's helped, and that's a oral dispersible medication called ondansetron.
Yep, we all know ondansetron. It's
I have been on that previously, as a tablet form, but which, you know, professionals at the time, you know, I can't fault them as such. However, you know, when you're being prescribed medication to take, yeah, you're bringing that medication back up and it's meeting you again. It's kind of defeating the object. So thankfully, now I have found something that does, fingers crossed so far, is easing things a little bit for me. It's not fully stopped my sickness, but it is allowing me to just have a little snippet of my life back, I guess. But it has been a bit of a battle between professionals and myself as well, because I think ultimately you don't feel listened to at times, because I don't think there's enough awareness and support out there, especially from a healthcare point of view.
So you mentioned that your doctor did diagnose you. Was that a battle to get that diagnosis, or was your GP actually pretty knowledgeable on HG? What did it look like?
So I'd gone to my doctors once I realised it wasn't just your typical, I guess, morning sickness. And it wasn't until I actually had a hospital admission at that point, which was, like I say, very early on. I think I was around, about the 8-week mark, in which I then was admitted to hospital because I was dehydrated. And then it was at that point, then they stepped in and was like, right, okay, this is obviously something more. This is what it is, and this is what we're going to do about it.
Jessica, whilst you were really suffering, was termination ever a consideration?
Yes, definitely. Very early on when I was suffering pretty bad, before I had the diagnosis, before anything really, I remember sitting one night and just thinking, I can't do this no more. I didn't know if it was me overreacting or thinking it was, maybe I was being silly because I thought, why am I not dealing with this? It's pregnancy, it's just morning sickness. But until I got that diagnosis, I think I was very naive that there is things that do exist like HG. And, I did definitely hit some low points, and I still have, like, throughout my pregnancy, but very much early on, to the point where that was a consideration of mine, because I genuinely didn't think mentally or physically I could take it anymore. As much as you think pregnancy is going to be this beautiful thing, and it is, and forever grateful of that. However, when you are battling day in, day out, you're waking up throughout the night, you're getting no rest, you are trying your best to get some help and something sorted so that you can live your life a little bit through your pregnancy. But I definitely, like I say, hit these dark points where I did sit and I did think, what, I can't do this, to the point where I researched terminations and things like that. And again, I think it is something I definitely, I think without finding the correct support, it's something I definitely would have gone through with 100%. Yeah.
I think it is so difficult to survive it, that if you don't have support, if you don't have the right medical treatment, it's a battle to survive it, isn't it? It's just such a horrific condition. So Jessica, can you tell me, how did pregnancy sickness support, how have we helped you through your HG?
Massively. So it, like I say, I focus quite early, from the early on days, but I think even it's important for me to realise that even now, is something that it's still supporting me with, and that I basically found the information online at first on the website. And I think at first, because I was so unwell, I was so scared to kind of reach out and ask for the support and ask for help. So at first I just spent a lot of my time researching and looking onto, you know, the pregnancy sickness support website, on the social media accounts, and just basically reading up different things, different stories from other people as well. And then obviously looking at all the helplines as well that are available, and routes of, you know, available support on there. And it wasn't until actually my partner had got in touch with yourselves, and he had a telephone call with somebody, and they were absolutely amazing, because it, you know, as much as hyperemesis affects you, you know, if you do have a partner, it can also affect them as well, because it's awful to see a loved one or anybody like that. So yeah, my partner got some really good information. We got some emails sent with lots of information regarding medication routes, how to kind of tackle professionals as well, in the sense of, you know, there isn't enough awareness out there, and it is easy, I guess, for some people to turn a bit of a blind eye to it, and think that it's just morning sickness and that this condition doesn't exist, which it does. So we got some really, really helpful information, like I say, through an email, which I have absolutely loved having as backup and knowledge for myself when I'm going into these rooms with professionals that, you know, you believe they know absolutely everything in the different routes and format, everything to do with HG, because that's what you put your trust into. But I did definitely use a lot of what I found with pregnancy sickness support when it has come to challenging professionals and decisions and everything. And you know, not just that, but they've also given my partner some really good support and how he can support me. And family members have also used that information, and I've used that for myself as well. But I definitely think without that support, without that kind of backup as well, I think I'd still be at square one right now, if I'm honest. And I think another important thing as well, just whilst we're on like the professional side of stuff, and it becomes so apparent when you've got hyperemesis, is that professionals tend, or have tended to with myself, this is only my experience, but have always turned a bit of a blind eye unless I've had ketones in my urine. Now, that again was put through on this email of amazing information and guidance what we got. And that again is something that I've definitely used and read up on even more, because I think, and I've even, you know, said it to midwives and challenged doctors about it, because it's not just the ketones in your...
I mean, it's common sense, isn't it? If you go into a clinic or doctors or a hospital and you say, I haven't had a drink in 48 hours, or, you know, and I remember it well when I'd go in there and they'd be like, can you give us a sample? And I was like, well, I can't even give you a sample for you to test for ketones. I haven't got any, there's no fluid in my body.
No. So yeah, I've definitely found a lot of support and backup, and I've found a lot of trust as well in pregnancy sickness support. And I'd recommend anybody kind of reaching out, to be honest, if it is someone that is struggling.
And how was your mental, you've touched on this slightly, Jessica, but how was your mental health affected during all your hyperemesis experience?
It's been a bit of a roller coaster, to be honest. There's days where I've laid in bed and just cried. There's days where I've woken up and thought, okay, I feel okay today, and then an hour later I'm back in bed and I'm upset and I'm frustrated and I'm tired of it all, and part of me wishes I was this normal pregnancy, what I guess you see portrayed a lot online, on social media. But yeah, it's definitely been a struggle. It's something I'm still battling with. But again, I think having that support around me, that bubble of, and that network, and knowing that there is, you know, the support line with yourselves that you can reach out to, and also family members, partner, and things like that, and friends. But I think until you are that one in that position, and I think for me, I found quite early on that it was such a battle. I thought physically it was just a battle, but I think mentally, when you are in bed pretty much day in, day out, and all you're really seeing is, sorry to say it, but a sick bowl or a toilet, then you kind of question what your life's coming to, in a sense, because like I say, it's not what's portrayed on maybe what you see on social media. These pregnancies what seem to be beautiful and you're glowing and things like that, and I think you almost become a little bit envious in a way that you're not that one that's glowing, and you're not the one that's been able to just carry on with normal day-to-day stuff, because you haven't got that energy to do so, and you mentally you do feel really fed up, and I think it's really isolating as well. And I think, mentally I am quite a strong person, but this has definitely put me through my challenges, and will continue to do so, I imagine. But it's having that, that support around me, and knowing who I can reach out to, and knowing that there is professional help, there's help with yourselves as well. And I think having that there is definitely a point for me where I feel quite positive about knowing that I don't have to go through it on my own. So I think the sooner people find that support, the better, really, especially with yourselves, because it's helped me a lot, definitely.
I think that's what's so magical about the work that the volunteers do, is the peer support network, because everybody there can understand, and because they've been through it themselves. And although HG is a spectrum condition, we might all have experienced it in a different way, we still understand because we've had it. And like my husband used to say, even though he'd seen it every single day, he's like, I still can't quite put myself in your position and understand what it feels like to you. And that was him watching it every day. But the volunteers at the end of a WhatsApp message or a phone call, I nearly said we because I used to volunteer, they get it, and they're there to support you and there to help you through it, which is fabulous. So Jessica, have you got any top tips or a message for anybody who's suffering with HG right now?
Firstly, I think it's important to know you're not on your own. As much as you might feel isolated, there is support out there. And I think for me, it's hold on. I think it is a rough ride, and I won't lie, it is a rough ride. But I think if you can reach out, get the support, reach out to pregnancy sickness support, and have that backup as well when you go into challenge or going in to professionals, because some professionals, don't get me wrong, they are great, they're amazing, and they know exactly what it is. Others maybe not so much, and I think it's so important, get the information behind you, know that you're not on your own, know that you are more than entitled to go and challenge decisions that are made for yourself. And I think just know that it can get easier, especially mentally. It can get easier. Like I say, I started off in a very dark place, and I'm now coming out of that. We dip back in every now and again, but I've seen the light, and I've seen the support that is there, and I know that it is there. So I think kind of create yourself almost like a comfort blanket, like a bit of a safe place, so that you've got them people to go to, you've got the medication if that's what is required, and you've also got the information to back you up as well, in case any of what you are wanting is challenged, and you can turn around and say, actually, this is the right information that I've got right here, this is what I'm going to do with it, and this is a treatment that I would like to try.
That's brilliant. Thank you so much for joining me today, Jessica.
Thank you.
If you or someone you know is suffering, please visit pregnancysicknesssupport.org.uk.